Hey there, have you ever felt like your English is pretty good, but for some reason your IELTS score just isn't showing it? Well, if that's you, you are in exactly the right place. Today we're going to crack the code on how this test is actually scored so you can finally get the results you know you deserve.
So, let's just dive right in with a big question. Is your good English somehow holding you back? I know, it sounds a little weird, right? But honestly, for so many test takers, this is the absolute core of their frustration.
You see, there's this huge myth that just being fluent, being able to chat and get by, is enough to get a high band score. And if you've ever felt stuck at a band 6 or 6.5, this is probably why. The test isn't just grading how good your English is in general. It's looking for a very, very specific set of skills. So, what's the fix? Well, we need to shift from just studying aimlessly to practicing with real accuracy. And the key, the absolute blueprint for this, is something called the official IELTS band descriptors. Think of them as the examiner's secret playbook. And today, we're going to use it as our roadmap to a way higher score.
This slide really breaks it down. On the left, you've got aimless study. That's when you're just kind of hoping for the best, reading a lot, listening a lot, but your progress feels super slow, and the results are, well, frustrating. But on the right, you've got strategic study. This is where you know exactly what the examiner is looking for, you target those specific skills, and suddenly your scores become predictable.
So what in the world are these band descriptors? Simple. They are the official rubric. It's literally the checklist the examiner has in front of them during your test. It spells out in black and white what you need to do for a band 6, a 7, an 8, or even a 9 in writing and speaking. This isn't a mystery. It's the code we're about to crack.
All right, let's get practical and see how this actually works. We'll start with the writing section. We're going to focus on two criteria that make all the difference between a pretty good score and an awesome one: task response and lexical resource.
First one up, task response. Now, this isn't just about answering the question. It's about how you answer it. Did you address every single part of the prompt? Did you develop your ideas? And did you back them up with support?
And just look at the difference here. The official words for a Band 6 response are that it's mainly mechanical. It's like you're just ticking off boxes. But to make that jump to a Band 8, you need a well-developed response. You need ideas that are relevant, extended, and supported. You're not just listing points. You're building a really strong, convincing argument.
Okay, next up is lexical resource. In plain English, that's your vocabulary. And the key here isn't about throwing in big, complicated words you found in a dictionary. It's all about using the right words with precision and accuracy. And again, let's look at that jump. A Band 6 vocabulary is adequate, but maybe it's a bit imprecise. But for a Band 8, you need a wide range of words, and you need to use them fluently and flexibly. Notice that phrase, skillful use of uncommon lexical items. That doesn't mean memorizing crazy words. It means naturally using less common, more precise words that really show you have a command of the language. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about the speaking test. So many people think fluency just means talking really fast without stopping. But nope, the examiners are listening for so much more. Let's look at fluency and pronunciation. First up is fluency and coherence. See, they're linked together. It's about how smoothly you can speak, sure, but it's also about how logically you connect your ideas so that the person listening can follow you without any effort. At a Band 6, you might hesitate a bit, more repeat yourself, and because of that, your examiner might get a little lost. But to hit that Band 8, you have to develop topics coherently. You're not just spitting out an answer, you're guiding the examiner through your thought process in a way that's clear and logical. And now, for pronunciation. I know this is a huge source of anxiety for a lot of people, but it's probably simpler than you think. The goal is clarity. It's not about having a perfect native accent. The examiner just needs to understand you easily. And the descriptors make this crystal clear. At Band 6, you can generally be understood, but maybe some mispronunciations make it a little unclear at times. To get to Band 8, you have to be easy to understand throughout. Your accent is totally fine, as long as it has minimal effect on intelligibility. It's really the difference between making the listener work to understand you and making it completely effortless for them. Now, when it comes to listening and reading, things are a little different. There aren't band descriptors for them in the same way. Your score is just based on how many questions you get right. But, and this is a big but, getting those correct answers, especially for a top score, takes a lot more than just good comprehension. This is so important to understand. The IELTS doesn't just ask, hey, did you get that? It tests your understanding through really specific,
and often very tricky question formats. So mastering the test is just as important as mastering the language.
So, what does this mean you should practice? It means you've got to focus on these 3 things. First, become a master of paraphrasing, because the answer in the text will almost never use the exact same words as the question. Second, you have to train your brain to spot distractors, those sneaky options that look right but are totally wrong. And third, get really good at using context clues to figure out words you don't know. These are test-taking skills, not just language skills.
Okay, so we've gone over the roadmap, we've looked at what it takes to get those high scores, and we've talked about the hidden skills for listening and reading. Now it's time to talk about your new strategic plan.
Here is the big takeaway for today. Stop studying blind. Stop just practicing English. From now on, I want you to pick the score you're aiming for, go find the band descriptors for that exact score, and make that your personal training plan. Start targeting the specific skills you need to show the examiner.
And I want to leave you with this idea. Success on the IELTS isn't really about how much English you know. It's about how well you can show the examiner the specific English that they're trained and required to look for.
So I'll finish with this question for you. Based on everything we just talked about, what is the one skill you're going to target this week? Maybe it's developing your ideas more in your writing, or maybe it's focusing on using more precise vocabulary when you speak. Whatever it is, that's where your journey to a higher score really begins. Good luck!